Okay. Barbara, did you want to say anything or? Okay, all right. Okay, welcome everyone. So good to see you. Thanks for joining this little introduction for this Yoga Nidra training and immersion that's coming up. So I thought what I would do is just take a few minutes to go over what is included in the Yoga Nidra immersion and certification. And then I'll take any questions that you have for a small group. And then we'll go on at 45 minutes, in 15 minutes, 45 minutes after the hour, we'll start with the official teaching and other people will join us. So let's just come on over here to the whiteboard. And I've written out for you what we're going to be covering in the course coming up. So I'm really happy I'm going to be coming to Amsterdam live in person. It's been a while. And I will be coming May 5th to 8th and staying on through the following weekend. This is like a Thursday to a Sunday, May 12th to 15. So the hours will be from 8:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday ending at 3 o'clock. All right. And of course, there's a lunch break in there as well. After, I'm going to be talking also in the lecture about Yoga Nidra, a little bit more about the Yoga Nidra training and how we approach all kinds of conditions using Yoga Nidra. But just to break up how the course is kind of set up for you. The first part, the first 4 days is really about you. That's why we call it an immersion. You can take this just for yourself. If you're like, you know what, I need a lot of Yoga Nidra, I need someone to get me into my personal practice. I just want to learn how to practice Yoga Nidra to get the most benefit for myself. The immersion would be the best for you, okay? So this is where we're going to be going into the philosophy of Yoga Nidra. What is it? What are the origins of Yoga Nidra? What is the foundational philosophy of Yoga Nidra? And so what we'll be going into is the ultimate purpose for which Yoga Nidra was created, which is pretty mind-blowing actually when we get into it. We'll also be looking at the 5 tools of Yoga Nidra. So what are the 5 different ways that we can use Yoga Nidra for our health, to help us change our relationship to things like habits, repetitive thought patterns. How can we learn about what it is that's going on in my head that isn't serving me in life? So we've all got ways of thinking, ways of behaving, attitudes that we have towards life that are either creating the outcomes that we want or the outcomes that we don't want. And the yogis actually say that these habits, these are called samskaras, and this is actually your karma. And this karma can be carried from lifetime to lifetime. And these are the things that make us automatically respond to things in certain ways. So, we always have to ask ourselves the question, why do I keep recreating the same relationship over and over and over again? And what we need to consider is it's not just the person out there, it's that there's something inside of us. There's a pattern inside of us that keeps attracting those same situations over and over. And so in the first part of the training, we're going to start to kind of dig deeper and start to unearth what your core patterns are. Where are they coming from? What are the deeper effects that they are creating? And then with these 5 tools of Yoga Nidra, we'll understand how to work with these patterns, how to neutralize them, how to redirect them. And one of the main things that we'll be doing during this time to help with these core patterns is working with intention combined with Yoga Nidra. So we'll be helping you come up with your own personal intention. It will actually be 2 intentions working at 2 different levels for you, so that every time you go into a Yoga Nidra, you have an intention that you have created that is most powerful, that can work at the deepest level for you. One of the things that's unique about Yoga Nidra and using intention in Yoga Nidra is that we very often try to change things from the waking state alone. So we say to ourselves, for example, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. But if we haven't spent if we haven't engaged in a practice like Yoga Nidra that actually reaches into the core of our consciousness, where these core beliefs, where this core karma resides, no matter how much we tell ourselves at the waking willful state, I love myself, the deeper belief you have about yourself will always outdo what you're telling yourself. So while you're telling yourself now, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, the deeper part of us is saying, no, you don't. And then we say, yes, I do. No, you don't. And we keep going back and forth between these two. So what we want to do is with Yoga Nidra, we're learning how we are reaching into the core of our consciousness, how Yoga Nidra can be used to actually reshape some of these core patterns to create the outcomes that we want in life. So in the first part of the training, that's what we're going to be looking at, is how is Yoga Nidra reaching into the core of our consciousness? What is happening with the brain waves? And as our brain waves get more quiet, how is it good for your brain? How is it good for your body? And how is it good for reaching in to the core consciousness where we can rewrite what isn't working for us? We're going to be looking here also at the basics of transmission, so that those of you who decide, you know what, I want to go on and learn more about the science, we'll start here. And so you'll be getting a Yoga Nidra script. I'll be asking you to practice it. We'll practice it in class. And we're going to be learning not just how to read a Yoga Nidra script, but to transmit it energetically. And these are secrets that I share with you from many years of practice, how to energetically impact other people with the power of your words, with the power of your transmission. And so that is a lot of what we're going to be covering in the immersion. So if you've got patterns, if you need a rest, if you just want to be inspired by these teachings again and get yourself back in the groove again, if you feel like you've kind of lost your way and need a reset, I would suggest the Yoga Nidra immersion. We are also going to, along with all these deep, personalized teachings, we're also going to be practicing Yoga Nidra twice a day. So this is a really great way to get these deep teachings and then let them be absorbed into your body cellularly by practicing. So I can't say enough about this part of the course. It really, a lot of people say, this is like life mastery 101, all the stuff we should have learned as kids about how life works and how our patterns work and how to be in life. For those of you who would like to go on to part 2, this is happening May 12 to 15. And this is where we kind of take the philosophy and look at how science is validating what the yogis have been saying for thousands of years. This is where you get the research. We look at how science is validating with evidence-based study the benefits of Yoga Nidra. And so you will walk away with lots of science and research to back up any place that you decide to share this work. This is where you'll be receiving Yoga Nidra cards, which will allow you to put together your own Yoga Nidras. So not just a single script, but to mix and match and create all your kind of Yoga Nidra experience. This is where we'll be looking at the practical applications of all of what we learned over here. So how is Yoga Nidra going to help somebody who's in states of chronic stress, someone who's suffering from PTSD, and how would you craft a Yoga Nidra specifically for someone with PTSD? How do we use Yoga Nidra to work with depression and anxiety? And what's the science that's showing that Yoga Nidra can help depression and anxiety? We'll be looking at insomnia. So it's estimated, I think it's like 1.5 times more common insomnia in women than in men. And back in 2007, approximately half of the people in the United States have insomnia. That's a lot of people, all right? So we're going to learn how to work with that, not just with medication, but by learning how to work with your own thoughts, your own body, to help work with any condition that people have. And we're going to be learning, there's so much that's happening in Yoga Nidra to your body, to your biochemistry, and to your brain during Yoga Nidra. So after having practiced all this time, we're actually going to be learning what's happening inside of you. It's not just that you feel good, but that your biochemistry and actually the landscape of your brain will be changing through practice. All right. So that's kind of an overview of the two. Also in the certification, we'll be showing you not just how to craft yoga nidras just for these conditions, but for really any condition. So that will be your final project, is that you will be asked to put together a yoga nidra using these cards for a particular condition that you want to be working with. So we'll be showing you how to do that. If you want to take just part one, I think it's Barbara. I think Barbara has the information. Maybe she can share it in the link of pricing. If you sign up for both, you get a little bit of a price break. And I think what I'll do is just now, we've got 5 minutes. I'll just pause and see if there are any questions that you have, any particular area of interest, because then I can tell you specifically how we'll be working with that in Yoga Nidra. Right. So if you would, let me just see. If you just want to raise your hand or unmute yourself, then I can call on you. Yes, go ahead. Vera.
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, my name is Vera. My question is basically, I saw you were also teaching another class later in November or October on trauma and healing. I was wondering, what are the big difference in methods that you will learn there? So I am assuming then you also use other yoga methods, but I was just wondering about the differences there.
Absolutely. So you're talking about the yoga therapy one, I think, what you're talking about. So in yoga therapy, we do incorporate elements of yoga nidra, but what is added and what we're focusing on is really understanding how people's emotions get stuck, from everyday emotions, stuff that happened when we were kids, all the way up to trauma. And I will be actually giving you I'll be teaching you specific facilitation techniques. How do I coach somebody? How do I walk somebody through clearing old emotions and feelings? So this is going to be, it's facilitation techniques that are based in yoga and pulling on psychology. So they're working with your physical body, where those feelings are held, but also with energetically to help clear the effect of those emotions that have gotten stuck in the body. So we work with those facilitation techniques, and I also teach you just very simple poses, almost like restorative poses, where you're supported by blocks, where you're supported by the wall, eventually supported by a partner, so that the person can actually be held or supported to open up different areas in the body where emotional tension can be held, physical tension can be held. And again, using these, so you're in a yoga pose, but somebody is actually facilitating you and coaching you to feel and to go into whatever might be in that area. And so I'll be teaching you how to do that. I hope, does that give you a better idea?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. The great thing about these two is that they're very complementary to each other. So in Yoga Nidra, we're really working at the core patterns where they reside, deep in our consciousness. But after we have repeated these core patterns over a long period of time, eventually the core patterns show up in our physical body. So we start wearing our patterns, we start wearing our beliefs, and we have habitual ways of moving and standing and sitting and moving around places that we start to avoid. And so with yoga therapy, it's like we use the body as a big map to say, start here. And it could be with physical tension, it can be emotional stuck stuff. But, even with physical tension, there's often, fear around it. So somebody injures their back, and when they start to open up that area, there's fear surrounding that area. The healing has technically happened, but the fear is still there. And so we learn how to work with that, okay, among many other things. All right, anyone else? Okay. So let's just take a minute. I see a couple of you who I know from previous trainings. So it's wonderful to see you as well. And I think everyone will be joining us in just 1 minute. So let's just take a moment to close our eyes. And just taking a full breath in and exhaling, letting the breath out. And again, taking a full breath in, hold, and exhaling, letting the breath out. And just taking a couple more breaths like this. One last time, inhaling, hold, and exhaling, breathing it out, focusing on the exhalation, slow and steady. Easy, full breaths in and out. And just allowing the muscles around the eyes to soften, the cheeks to soften. Simply allowing all expression to be wiped from the face. And we'll begin by chanting the sound of Om together, inhaling. Om. Shanti. And as you're ready, gradually open your eyes. The greeting that I use is Jai Bhagwan, which means victory to the spirit within each one of us. So namaste, Jai Bhagwan, everyone. Welcome. Okay, so tonight it's Yoga Nidra time. Thank you all for joining me. For me, it's actually almost 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. So I love that we get to be connected from all over the world. For those of you who I don't know, just a very quick introduction. I grew up as the daughter of a yoga master. And the teachings that I bring you are from a lineage, from a tradition of teachings that were passed down from teacher to student over hundreds and even thousands of years. And the value of learning this kind of a tradition, this is called I Am Yoga Therapy, is that the links in the chain are very tightly interconnected. And so what you'll find is that, we didn't just get this training or this information that we're going to get tonight off of, Google. We got it through being passed down through a tradition where all this knowledge is kind of communicated intact, not just as words, but as an energy experience. So hopefully you'll feel that as we go into the style of Yoga Nidra, that you'll feel, oh, this is not just theory, that when you go into the experience itself, you will feel a lot of what we're talking about. I also have a PhD in psychology. And what I've done is really spent the last 30 years bringing the two together in a unique way. So what I see is that the East has all these incredibly deep, profound ancient teachings. Psychology is dealing with a lot of modern things that we're dealing with, like depression, anxiety, sleep issues. And so what I've done with my teachings is I've taken kind of the yogic philosophy and applied it to these modern conditions that we experience. And so I'm the author of the book, Yoga Nidra, The Art of Transformational Sleep. And I've also developed a Yoga Nidra app that some of you are familiar with. It's called I Am Yoga Nidra. So keeping all of that in mind, what I thought we would talk about tonight are three biggies, three areas that most of us have had some experience with at some time. And so tonight I'm going to be talking to you about, what are we going to talk? Oh yeah, sleep. No, stress first. Anxiety and insomnia. Or maybe I should just say sleep. So I thought I would touch on all three. The reason being that there's something that is common to all three. All three of these are related in some way. And Yoga Nidra is profound in its ability to positively affect all three. So let's have a look. The very first thing that I would say is that what's common to all of these, I'm not sure if you can see this, it just says stress, anxiety, and sleep. So if we were to look through the lens of Yoga Nidra, what is common to all of these is that they all have, first of all, a body component. Where do we experience stress? We feel it as pressure in the body, as tension in our muscles, right? We experience anxiety as physical sensation, heart beating, breath, sweats, pressure on the chest. Where do we experience inability to sleep? In the body. So that's what's common to all three of these, but there's something else that's common to all of them, and that is the mind, our thinking patterns. And what we see is that even though all three of these are experienced in the body, our experience of them can be worsened by how we interact with them in the mind. And what Yoga Nidra is fantastic at is not only dealing with the physical body sensations, but also with dealing with those underlying patterns that I just talked about, those beliefs, those recurring ways of thinking that are making each of these worse. And so what we can do with Yoga Nidra is we can not only relieve the physical tension that's working with all of these, we can also work with the underlying root thinking patterns that are making these worse. So let's look at all three of these in short. The very first one is stress. I am not denying by any means that there are physical stressors happening out there. There are people who drive us crazy. There's traffic, there's worries, there's bills, there's all kinds of things that have to be done outside. And those are real, true physical stressors. That happens at the level of the body. But what I want you to see is that how we interact with those stressors at the level of the mind can make those stressors even worse or make them better. So let's say you have a boss who drives you nuts. And every day you go into work and you are with them from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So let's say you have 8 hours of stress on the physical body. But the mind is capable of carrying that stress on and making it even worse. So after your day is over, your mind is capable of carrying your anger and your frustration about that boss into dinner, even affecting your sleep, even when you wake up, even through breakfast, even in your bike ride to work, wherever it is that you're going, your mind has the ability to carry it on longer than it's happening. And so what happens is what was meant to just be temporary, or at least 8 hours, could become a 24-hour experience. And so instead of the nervous system being impacted for 8 hours, it's now continuously impacted at a low level, keeping the body in a constant state, a very subtle sympathetic state of fight or flight. And what was meant to be temporary, shallow breath, raised heartbeat, tightened muscles, begins to become the permanent state. We begin to live with chronically tight muscles, chronically high blood pressure, a chronic state of shallow breathing. Right? And in this state, the body is continuously getting the message, I can't relax. It's not safe to let go. The body is constantly on guard, and it cannot do its repair work. It has learned to live in a constant level of fight or flight to some degree. And here, when you're not repairing the body, when you're not getting down into the alpha brainwave state or deeper, we'll talk about that. But when we can't get down, the body cannot do its healing and repair work. All right. So we'll talk about what Yoga Nidra does for this. The next one is anxiety. So you can kind of see how if we're continuously in this state where our breath becomes chronically shallow, our heart chronically beats faster, that it doesn't take much for anxiety to occur. And in fact, anxiety most often occurs when we're under stress. So it's almost like the nervous system has learned to live in a fight or flight state until at some point with anxiety, there doesn't even need to be an external stressor in order to feel this stress response. Isn't that what anxiety is? That without anything happening outside, we can start to feel these fight or flight symptoms. Or there could be a trigger, but we more easily go there. Right? The other thing, so that's the body response. The body learns to go there, it learns to automatically go there. But what has actually been shown by research, not just yogis, but scientific research, is that what science calls irrational beliefs and ruminating thoughts. Ruminating thoughts means when you keep chewing on something and you keep thinking about it, like when you keep worrying about your bills, right? And the more that we think about it, the more we chew on it, the more we tell ourselves to be worried about it, we can actually trigger anxiety or make it worse, right? So these beliefs that we are holding, what yogis call samskaras, these core imprints, can actually be triggering and even worsening our anxiety response. That brings us to sleep. So another effect of being too stressed out all the time in this sympathetic fight or flight response over a constant period of time is it not only can trigger anxiety, it can keep the body from being able to relax enough to fall down into sleep. So the body gets stuck when we're in stress, we're stuck with cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. This is all stuff you learn in yoga nidra training. So don't try to take too much in, just take in the idea, right? So when we're under stress over a long period of time, we release cortisol. And cortisol means we're in that sympathetic state. And in that sympathetic state, we are left with what's called beta brainwave activity. That is your brainwave activity when your mind is stressed. And when your mind is stressed and you are in beta brainwave activity, guess what? You're more likely to develop anxiety. That's what anxiety is being in the beta brainwave state, a certain area of a range of beta brainwave activity. And if you cannot, because you're in beta and you're stuck there, because you're stressed, your body will not be able to fall asleep. So what is needed for your body to fall asleep is to be able to get down to the alpha brainwave state. And if we've got too much cortisol, too much beta brainwave activity, it's almost like your mind is up here, your body can't relax, and therefore we're not able to enter this kind of very narrow bridge that allows us to fall into sleep, okay? So just quickly, when we fall into sleep, the alpha brainwave state only happens between 8 and 12 hertz. It's like a calm brainwave activity. And if you cannot get your beta brainwave activity, that can go from 13 to 30 hertz, okay? Something like this. If you can't get it down to 8 to 12 hertz, you won't be able to fall asleep. So I think where you can see where I'm going with all of this, the whole idea is that yoga nidra can help us on 2 levels. So the very first thing that it does for stress is yoga nidra removes the excess cortisol, the excess stress hormone that has been stuck in the system. That is continuing and setting the stage for anxiety and the ability and the inability to fall asleep. So too much cortisol, I cannot relax in the body and I cannot let go in the mind. Isn't that what insomnia is? You can't relax in the body, you can't let go in the mind. you'll notice that when you're not able to fall asleep, that what's happening is that your thoughts are so close to you and we're trying so hard to fall asleep that we can't fall asleep. Because we're up here saying to ourselves, fall asleep, fall asleep. You have 7 hours to sleep. You have 6 hours to sleep. You have 2 hours to sleep. And the more stress we put on it, the less we're able to fall asleep. Okay. How is Yoga Nidra going to help? Let's have a look at that. First, Yoga Nidra removes the excess cortisol. This allows our muscles to relax. It allows us to be able to drop from a beta to alpha brainwave state. So what's really interesting is that as long as you are in a beta brainwave state, you really can't, your body can't really heal and maintain itself. When you're in a stress state, your body cannot release accumulated tension, right? So in order to release excess stress, in order to relieve anxiety, we have to go to the alpha brainwave state. And this is where meditation is so useful. This is where Yoga Nidra is so useful, right? So typically what we'll do if we're really stressed out is we try to kind of discharge the excess stress with something like having a glass of wine or watching some TV. The problem with that is if you are not going to the alpha brainwave state or deeper, you're not actually relaxing. You're not actually letting the body come down to a place where it can really repair and restore itself. So often what we think is relaxing is not really relaxing, but Yoga Nidra is. It is taking you to the alpha brainwave state. So now with Yoga Nidra, let's say we're down into the alpha brainwave state. In this alpha brainwave state, this is where GABA and serotonin are released, okay? Both of these play the most critical role in managing both anxiety and depression, right? So as we begin to come down to this relaxed place, your body releases this GABA that tells your whole body your muscles can let go, your mind can relax, your emotions can calm. GABA is like your body's version of Valium. It makes you feel relaxed and at ease, right? It is the most powerful anti-anxiety biochemical that your body can release. This is also where serotonin is released. And many of you are familiar with serotonin, right? Serotonin has a lot to do with depression. Medications that work with depression are working with serotonin. Serotonin also plays a major role in anxiety. So every time you're going down towards the Yoga Nidra, you're releasing all of these happy hormones, biochemicals that are going to help create a state where you are more immune to anxiety. You have enough GABA and serotonin within your body to withstand the stress and to prevent the anxiety. And finally, you will be also releasing enough melatonin to help you fall asleep. You'll be entering the alpha brainwave state to help you fall asleep. Okay. So my hope is that you're starting to get a feel for how all of these are connected to each other. And the bottom line with Yoga Nidra is it's working at 2 levels, right? So first, it's doing all this stuff for the body, all this scientific stuff. It's helping the whole body let down from the excess stress that has been creating all of these, right? But the second thing that we do with Yoga Nidra is that we are working with the thought patterns that are creating these, worsening these conditions in the first place. So if we just gave you a technique to release all your physical tension, but your core patterns are still there, it's all on me. If I don't do it, no one will. I'm loved for what I do. I have to protect myself. It's not safe to let go. If we are continually telling ourselves this, even though we may release all this stuff, it'll just come back. And so in the whole first part of Yoga Nidra, in the course that I teach, the whole Yoga Nidra immersion is all working on what are the mental patterns, the emotional patterns, the deep-seated beliefs that I am carrying that are creating all kinds of results in my life, right? Be it relationships that aren't working, but also health issues. And we go deeply into those and learn how to work with those core patterns, because without that, no matter what solution we find, it's only going to be temporary, right? And then in this second part of the training, this is where we learn all the science, right? This is where we learn about the cortisol and the GABA and the serotonin and what's happening in the brain. And to me, the combination of these two is so powerful. The combination of these three, really, right? So we look at your patterns. We look at creating a biochemical shift in the body. And then we actually experience Yoga Nidras so that we're not just talking about what Yoga Nidra does, we're actually helping those changes happen from within you. All right, so with all that, I hope that you're ready to go on to some experiential portion. But before we go there, questions or comments? It's nice to see a number of you from other programs. So happy to see you all. Okay, just raise your hand if you have a question. Yes, Sana, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. So lovely to see you again. I just wanted to share my experience from having attended this program, which is, I can't believe it's actually already a year ago. But for me, I'm in the process of still trying to finish off my yoga therapy training, but I also have a full-time job, so it's been a long ongoing process. But I feel so grateful that I attended the Yoga Nidra training, because it just makes so much sense, taking all that yoga philosophy and all the wisdom of yoga and then putting that together with I guess the traditional Western view of looking at stress and anxiety and everything. I just really landed in all of that work, and I have to say that it's been completely transformative for me personally, but also in the way that I work with clients. And I find it difficult not to use Yoga Nidra in all of my sessions, because it is just so powerful, and the cards are so helpful, and you always find something in the Yoga Nidra that I just know will help the people that I work with. And a lot of them use your app as well. And yes, it's just been a truly positive experience.
Thank you, Sana. That makes me happy, because that's my intent, is to give some people something. People are suffering, I'm not going to say who it is, because it's a very, thank you so much. I'm not going to say who it was, but I remember somebody who was one of the most famous and wealthy people in the world say to me, please, just help me sleep. Just help me have one night of sleep where I can deeply rest, right? And Sana, and those of you who graduated, we all know that feeling when somebody comes to us and says, for the first time in 15 years, I could sleep, I could rest. That's the kind of gift we want to give people with this practice of Yoga Nidra. So thank you for verifying that. I appreciate it. What I wanted to do before we go into Yoga Nidra experience was share a little bit with you about what I found about anxiety. Because some of you are already working with Yoga Nidra, others of you not yet, but regardless, I think that this might be a helpful clue for you. When somebody experiences anxiety, what very often happens when they're in this state is they will panic about this feeling of fear that's coming up in the body. And what do we do when somebody is stressed or in anxiety? We tell them to breathe, to take a deep breath. But what they will often do is they'll go, And in order to try to calm themselves, they will start to focus on their inhaling breath. So just try this with me, just a couple of breaths, go like this. If you have anxiety, don't do this. All right. But notice how when you do this, can you see how focusing on the inhalation can actually increase your experience of anxiety? Does anybody feel what I'm talking about? Right? This. So it's not, when we have somebody who experiences anxiety, it's not just breathing deeply. We need to be focusing on the exhaling breath. And what I have found that works best is not to immediately go to a slow, long exhaling breath, but to do an in-between technique that is easier for the person to access at the point where they are in anxiety. So if I'm starting to have an anxiety attack and I try to calm my breath down too quickly, for some people, that's going to increase their anxiety, right? Because it's like, you're trying to force your body to slow down more quickly than it's able to, which can make the feeling even worse. And so what I've been finding is that by focusing on the exhalation, but in shorter bursts, and then doing longer exhalations, this really is more effective for anxiety. So what I use is Kapalabhati, the breath of fire, which is traditionally thought to be a stimulating breath. But if we do it in a slow way, with a focus on the exhalation, what I found is it helps give us something more concrete to hang on to in the midst of anxiety coming on. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to do the Kapalabhati breath, just so that you can feel how this might work if you are feeling anxious or nervous. All right. I'm going to do this standing up. You're welcome to do it sitting down, or you can do it standing up with me if you like. Many of you are familiar with breath of fire. If you're new to this technique, you can do it through your mouth or you can do it through your nose. Preferable to do it through your nose if you can. I'll show it to you first through the mouth. And really what you're trying to do is focus on the exhalation. That is what we need to focus on with stopping the anxiety response. So it looks like this. Remember, I'm going to do it slowly. So I'm forcefully exhaling and I'm letting the inhalation be passive. So I'm just focusing on the exhalation. All right. If we did it through the nose, it would look like this. All right. So let's give it a try, nose or mouth. You can stand up or sit down. And if you're sitting down, just make sure that your whole belly and chest are fully open. And follow my rhythm. Exhale, bend forward, all the breath out. Hold it out for a moment and inhale again. Exhale, release the breath. Breathe normally. And just notice if the breath moves a little more easily outward, if the belly is a little bit more relaxed. And imagine if you were in a state of fear or anxiety or nervousness. Notice how this might help calm you down, help release the tension in the gut. We'll do one more round, focusing on the exhaling breath. Exhale, bend forward. All the breath out through the mouth. Breathe it out. Inhale, sit up. And exhale, release. And now drawing the breath naturally into the belly. Noticing how much more easily the breath flows now. And we'll just do one more movement to prepare for our Yoga Nidra, coming to a standing position if you're not already. If you're on your bed, just go ahead and adjust this position to work for you. You can do another stretch. And just separating the feet wider than hip width apart. And we're going to bend through the knees. You may not be able to see me completely, but I'll talk you through it. I'm bending my knees. I'm placing my hands on my thighs. Schoolie, maybe we can move this away. And we're just going to press one shoulder forward, hold and twist. And then the other, pressing the other shoulder forward. And just alternating from side to side. And then coming to the center. And just taking a forward bend. So pressing the hips back, letting the torso come forward. And just noticing the places that feel tighter or tenser. Maybe bending into the right knee. And then the left, releasing the crown of the head towards the floor. Releasing the whole back body. Straightening both legs. Softening through the knees. Place the hands on the thighs just above the knees. Rising up slowly. Stepping the feet underneath the hips. Standing tall. Just take a moment to close the eyes. Good to see you. And then opening the eyes once again. This time extending the arms straight out in front of you, the thumbs and fingers together, palms facing down. And just separate the feet to about hip width apart. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, bending through the knees, allowing the hips to come out behind you as if you were sitting in a chair. Keep the chest lifted, shifting the weight back into the heels. Deep belly breaths. And remember, we're not just working with the body, we're working with our patterns in the mind. So if your mind is saying, I'm not going to let go, I'm going to stay the longest of everyone, or when's it going to be over? Just see if you can breathe through those patterns. If you need to come out, but if you can stay engaged without engaging the patterns in the mind, do so. 2 more breaths. Pressing both feet into the floor, rising up slowly. Release the arms, close the eyes. Inhale fully. Focus on the exhale, let the breath fall out. And again, inhaling fully. And exhale. And then just reaching around behind you, interlacing your fingers behind your back, just for one last stretch. With your fingers interlaced, just tilting the head to one side. And then the other. Coming back to center, over to the other side. And then release. So in the Nidra itself, now that we've done the initial focus on the exhale, we'll be doing Shitali breath. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. I will talk you through, I'll just remind you how we are going to be doing the Shitali breath, which is excellent for anxiety, stress, or sleep issues, okay? So go ahead, get yourself comfortable. Just listen in the background while I'm talking. So typically you might have learned the Shitali breath or the straw breath as inhaling and exhaling with either a curled tongue or with pursed lips, okay? In this particular variation, we're going to be focusing on the exhalation for the reasons that we just learned. Powerfully, the focus on the exhalation creates a powerful relaxation response. It short circuits anxiety, it short circuits stress, and it helps us fall asleep by inducing that alpha brainwave activity and helping us drop down into those more restorative states. So the way that you will do this technique, you can just listen if you can't see me, is you're just going to be inhaling through the nose and exhaling, but just through a very soft space between the lips. So you're not trying to go like, you just slightly separate the mouth and let the breath move outward. All right. So I'll be guiding you through this technique, but I just want you to know how to do it. Go ahead and get yourself comfortable now. And if you're going to be lying down, making sure that you have a blanket, maybe some height under the knees, some padding under the head. You can go ahead and cover your arms. You can place your eye pillow if you like. We're going to be doing some tension and relaxation while you're covered up. If you shouldn't be holding the breath for any reason, just breathe normally as you do this technique. So just taking the time to get yourself supremely comfortable. Scanning the body to see if there are any last minute changes that you need to make. And then once you're settled, close your eyes and quiet your mind. Let go of all thoughts, worry, and tension. Breathe in fully and exhale with a deep sigh. Relax the belly. And again, breathe in and exhale with a deep sigh. Let go even more. And feel a deep sense of peace and contentment begin to wash over you. And we'll move our attention into the body to release trapped energy and move deeper into total relaxation. Remember, if you cannot have undue pressure in the head for any reason, it's important that you breathe normally as you tense the body. And begin by tightening the shoulders, arms, fists, face, tighten Tighten even more, hold, and let go. On your next exhalation, let go even more. Tightening and tensing the lower body, hips, buttocks, legs, feet, tighten, tighten, hold, hold, squeeze, and let go. Let go completely. This time, tighten and tense the entire body as you inhale. Arms, hands, shoulders, feet, legs, face, buttocks, tighten, tighten, hold, scrunch up the face, hold, and let go. On your next exhalation, let go even more. Observe and feel the flood of energy extending to all the muscles, nerves, and cells of your entire body. Let your body go limp like a rag doll. Now bring your attention to the face. With your next exhalation, allow all expression to drop from the face. Releasing the tiny muscles around the eyes. Allowing the eyes to rest back in their sockets. Releasing the tiny muscles around the mouth. Tongue resting in the mouth. Lower jaw gently opening and softening. Allowing the cheeks to soften towards the floor. Scalp resting on the skull. Neck softening and easing. Simply be available to the entire range of sensations in the face and head. Now, as we enter this next phase of Yoga Nidra, remain as motionless as possible. If you need to move or make an adjustment, do so mindfully and return to stillness as soon as you're able. Resolve to remain awake, staying in touch with the sound of my voice. Simply allow your entire body to respond to my words directly and non-mentally. Allow any disturbances, external or internal, to draw you more deeply within. Now shift from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Do absolutely nothing from now on. Simply relax. Drop into the deepest state of tranquility, stillness, and peace. Simply become aware of the rising and falling of the breath. Notice if the breath is fast or slow, deep or shallow. Whatever is happening, simply relax and witness the breath. Stay connected to every breath in, every breath out. Now this time, breathe in through the nose, fill the lungs, and exhale through softly pursed lips as if blowing through a straw. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through a straw. Continue on your own, allowing the exhalation to be a prolonged, steady stream of breath, emptying the lungs completely. Breathe in completely and breathe out completely without strain. Every time you exhale, empty your mind of all anticipations and empty the body of all tensions. As you inhale, fill your heart with joy. Continue to breathe with constant attention and detached awareness. Each time you inhale, drop into a deeper level of silent awareness. Experience the balancing, relaxing impact of the parasympathetic nervous system. Breath is calm. Mind is silent. Heart is unconditionally open. Now return to your normal breathing and turn your attention inward. Experience the powerful impact of vibratory energetic pulsations in the form of sensations in the body. Let your detached awareness embrace all experiences unconditionally. Let the mind merge and melt into it. Now bring your total undivided attention to the eyebrow center and drop into the deepest level of silent stillness, peace, and harmony. Enter an effortless state of being. Now let your attention move to each body part as I name it. Feel subtle energy following attention as the body begins to heal, integrate, and balance. Now bring attention to the right foot, the left foot, right leg, left leg, right buttock, left buttock, right lower back, left lower back, right middle back, left middle back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, right arm, left arm, right palm, left palm, whole spinal cord, whole spinal cord, back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, forehead, right temple, left temple, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, point between the eyebrows, third eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, right jaw, left jaw, right side of the throat, left side of the throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, right side of the rib cage, left side of the rib cage, right side of the abdomen, left side of the abdomen. Now bring attention to the middle of the chest. Become aware of the heart center. Direct experience of the heart center. Feel it open. Now expand your attention to each and every part of the body. One cohesive being functioning in a unified and harmonious way. Feel the whole body in awareness. Subtle energies healing and balancing the whole body. Now imagine you're walking through a beautiful garden, completely alone. There's only you to enjoy the beauty around. Sense the earth beneath your feet as you walk. Cool and very pleasant. Flowers blooming. Plants and trees flourishing from the earth. You hear a loud clap of thunder. As you look up, the sky has become very dark. It is starting to rain. You're standing on very green grass, watching the raindrops bounce off the blades of grass. Look around and witness the storm. Raindrops streaming down the face, drenching your clothes. Just relax and enjoy the feeling of being completely wet. No concern about getting wet. It doesn't matter. It's very pleasant to get wet. Now the storm has finished. You can smell the wet earth. The sun beginning to shine through the clouds. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, drying your clothes. Look up at the sun and feel its warmth and energy penetrating deeply into the skin, entering the body until you feel warm everywhere. Now you're running in the garden. You're very happy and cannot help but laugh with joy. All around you are birds singing their beautiful melodies. A cool, gentle breeze is blowing in the trees. Hear the wind rustling in the trees. And feel it blowing against your face and through your hair. Breathe in this fresh, life-giving air. Now give yourself the permission to enter the deepest level of relaxation right now. Let go. Here there remains nothing to do or achieve. You have entered the domain of grace. All that can never be done by your doing can happen only in the non-doing presence of your being. And overall fear, apprehension, and anxiety about all that you want to control and manage. Let go of all doing. Replace it with trust and faith. Here, your intentions and affirmations are actualized and fulfilled with effortless ease. Allow yourself to receive the following affirmations as I repeat them. Let your whole body listen to what I say. I feel my burden is lifted. I feel complete freedom from managing, controlling, or needing anything outside of myself. I allow that which is coming to come. I allow that which is going to go. I respond to each moment with calm, clarity, and conviction. Know that releases, shifts, and changes that need to take place are happening outside of your doing. Recognize at this sacred moment that your whole being has made a major paradigm shift. Establish yourself in total trust and faith that remains free of any need to be in control. Feel totally unburdened and free to move in life with effortless ease. Feel the presence of your higher self guiding, protecting, and blessing you. Feel energy and grace fill you and surround you at all times. Do not hesitate, doubt, or dispute it. Just let it come naturally. Establishing a whole new relationship with reality, regardless of how it begins to show up in your life. Knowing that you are soul, you can witness life's experiences and let them pass by. Trusting that right response and right actions will come through you. With that clarity, keep your heart open to all conditions. If there's an area, a person, or a situation that you feel needs healing, bring that situation or circumstance into your awareness now. Surround it with the light of your neutral awareness. Allowing yourself to see or perceive this situation differently. And slowly beginning to deepen your inhalations and exhalations. Allowing your inhalations to be a bit more full. Your exhalations a bit more complete. And slowly feel yourself beginning to rise to the surface of awareness. Take your time, there's no hurry. Sense the body resting on the floor, wherever you are. The quality of the air as it touches the skin. And as you feel the impulse, you can begin to move the fingers and toes, stretching the arms and legs as if waking from a restful sleep. If the impulse is to remain still, do so. Perhaps bringing the knees into the chest and gently rocking side to side. If you wish, you can roll over onto your right side. Just taking a moment to get comfortable here. And feel yourself held in safety, comfort, and protection. Regardless of what you consciously recognize that has or has not changed, know that something deep within has shifted. Bring a deep sense of peace, contentment with you as you bring awareness back to the physical body. Noticing not just how relaxed the body is, but how calm the mind is. Both of these together creating balance and harmony for you to feel at ease and at peace with yourself and with your life. And then you can either remain where you are or use the strength of your hands to come up to a seated position, whichever you prefer. And once you're settled, just noticing how easily attention is held in that silent space that's bigger than the mind. In yoga, we call this Shanti, peace. The peace that is beyond the mind, the peace that passeth understanding. Be still and be grateful. Know that you can easily return here again and again. Let's bring the hands together at heart center. We'll chant Om together, inhaling. Om. Shanti, peace. And as you're ready, opening your eyes. Namaste, Jai Bhagwan, everyone. So good to be with you. Thank you for taking the time to take care of yourself, for this self-care, so that your body can let go, the mind can let go, and you can come back to who you are. All right. Thank you. So wonderful to see you also, old friends and new ones. Namaste to you all and have a wonderful evening. Jai Bhagwan.